not the podcast you are looking for.
If you're looking for the same old content delivered by the same old people, you are on the wrong pod.
This podcast has life form. You are listening to Stash and Lash.
You're listening to Stash and Lash, the show where we talk about everything that unites us as Mexicans.
One living in the US and one living in Mexico. The Stash and Lash Show. Is this thing on?
What is up, everybody? How are you? I am Estasio.
And I'm a little Ash. Welcome back, everybody. My friend, that headband. Do you know what's happening, folks? Do you know what's going to be happening today, people? How are you, my friend?
I am good. I love our setup. You know why? Because look at the picture right behind us. You see Daniel LaRusso with this headband, looking at Johnny Lawrence with your Cobra Kai shirt.
We're like looking. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Welcome to the Stash and Lash Show, everybody. We are back.
We are back by popular demand. It's our second episode of this 2022 year, and we went from celebrating a Mexican icon to now celebrating the 80s.
Yes, because we are 80s babies, and I cannot stop smiling. I'm very excited about this episode. I hope you are too, because
I am.
We are going to talk a lot about this. So what are we talking about? What are we going to talk about?
I don't know. Hopefully, if you don't have a clue yet of what we're talking about, then you need to wake up. We're talking about the Karate Kid, the Miyagi universe, the Cobra Kai series, everything that has to do with the Karate Kid leading up to the Cobra Kai series, which we've been so excited about. We have a lot that we're going to talk about today there, G.
Yeah, and we said before, we said in the last episode that we're going to try to cover a lot of more pop culture subjects because we love them and you like them. So thank you again for all the feedback, for all the support. And yes, I mean, we were like talking back and forth and, hey, did you watch the season 4 of Cobra Kai? Yeah, I did, blah, blah, blah. And we were like, hey, why don't we get in the Cobra Kai wagon and start talking about it? And of course, we cannot talk about Cobra Kai without talking about the Karate Kid series, right?
You have to start with the original, right? We call it the OG, original gangsta, of Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence, the battle that we all grew up with and related to and cheered for. And I think that's what we're going to do, Gia. Today we're going to kick off kind of our encounter. How do we how did we get introduced to the Karate Kid universe back in our childhood and little baby G and baby Z? And then we'll talk about, G's, she did her research. She has a lot of amazing fun facts. And then we'll go right into the Cobra Kai series where, season 4 just premiered this year. And we can't stop talking about it. Or did it premiere in December?
December 31st. If I'm right.
Right at the end of the year, beginning of the year. And I can't stop thinking about it. I
binge
watched that. Watch it. Yeah.
I binge watched it like in 2 days, I think. Yeah. I just had to.
Thank you, Netflix, for allowing us to just have all the episodes. Looking like what really makes me frustrated is like Disney
that
Plus,
cliffhanger. Yes.
Like are you watching like Mandalorian? And
not yet.
We have the Book of Boba Fett. Oh, it's like every week you have to wait, and I'm like, and that's one thing we need to get G on board so we can talk about that because there's a lot of good stuff around the Star Wars universe.
That's the thing with me, that I try to like wait until there's like a couple of more episodes available, because if that happens to me, like if I end one and like have to wait an entire week for the next episode, I'm going to go crazy. So I just have to wait, and I'm trying my best to stay away from spoilers.
It's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard.
I know.
It's really hard, G, and I gotta give it up to you because it's not easy. But let's get started. So yeah, we're gonna start with that. Let's talk about the Karate universe. How the Karate Kid got started.
Kid universe. So a little fast fact: 1984, the year of the release of Karate Kid, the first take. Back in 1984, I was 4 years old. How old were you?
I was just subtract 1. I was 3.
Aw, yeah.
I was too little. I didn't even know this was going on.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like, we were like very young, but I do remember like something was going on. I don't know if I watched it like a year or 2 years later, but we definitely are 80s babies, and we are like completely Karate Kid kids, you know.
Well, as soon as I can recall, I don't remember the exact age, but I was very young. I was probably, but I think I finally knew about it. I think I want to say I was like 8 or 9, maybe
Yeah.
younger.
Yeah,
maybe
probably.
7, but I remember seeing them, and again, you see in the image there was a total of 5, but honestly I count 4 for the karate universe. The last one I don't really count it as a part of this universe. It's a whole different type
it's
of
a reboot because it's using the exact same name, but the storyline is completely different. It's in China instead of Okinawa. There's not a Mr. Miyagi. The boy's name is not Daniel. The circumstances are completely different. It's good though. I mean, I didn't dislike it, but yeah, I mean, you cannot beat. But you have to give credit to just trying to bring that kind of story back to the new generations. So that's what is happening right now with Cobra Kai. Like, a lot of kids are watching, and now they're fans of the Cobra Kai franchise. And probably a lot of those kids are sons and daughters of people that were fans of the original Karate Kid series. So that's pretty cool.
And that's where I am, right? My kids are all teenagers, and we love it. We bond, especially my 2 boys. Every episode we talk about it and going, oh my gosh, did you see that one? It just came out. They're the ones that reminded me that it came out. They're like, Dad, season 4 is out. And I was like, oh shoot, yes. And then of course, when I have them and they come over, we just start talking about it and just can't go off. And I'm like, I love that. I love that we're able to bond and get those 2 generations. But man, it's hard, to explain to them the original movies. They've seen them, but they love the new Cobra Kai more than they do the originals, right?
Yeah, it's totally different. Like
totally different.
The vibe, it's very like present. Cobra Kai is like very fresh and different, and Karate Kid's like very, very like very 80s.
Very 80s, yeah. The quality is totally different than what they see. But let's go back really quick. G, you talked about how really you talked about how the 4th movie or the 5th movie was, it really is a whole different reboot. And I agree with you. I think I would say for the Cobra Kai series, it really just focused around the first 4 movies. And
exactly.
the reason why, and so far, we'll talk about this as well, is that there's been a lot of callbacks and a lot of characters that have come back. But the only one that hasn't yet is the 4th Karate Kid, right? We haven't seen yet, but we haven't seen that character. Yeah, we haven't at all. But I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure that we're going to see that.
Some say that maybe she will make an appearance in Cobra Kai season 5, because in all this Karate Kid like history and legends and sayings and whatever, they say that probably Daniel and Julie met at some point, and that probably they met specifically in Mr. Miyagi's funeral. So she might make an appearance in Cobra Kai. We don't know. Maybe.
And they're saying she might even be the mom of one of the characters. So there's rumors.
Really?
Yeah, there's rumors, and you know what? Let's go.
Tori?
Let's get into that. Not Tori. That's a good call out. Tori, they actually think it's going to possibly be the one from 3. I can't think of his name right now. He hasn't showed up yet, but he's going to come too. But yeah, I'll bring it up. I'll look it up here in a second and I'll let you know. But yeah, there's rumors that she's going to be the mom of one of these kids, and I think it's you remember in the most recent episode, right? There's a little boy who is being bullied by Daniel LaRusso's son. Right, and he became a Cobra Kai, right?
Yeah.
And he likes this girl. They both like this girl in school.
Yeah.
That they think that girl could possibly be her daughter, because we haven't seen much of her yet. But I feel like there's gonna be more around this little girl. and
Probably.
she might be the daughter, right, of her. So
Probably.
there's
Probably.
rumors. Yeah,
There's
there's so
rumors.
many cool things though. You never know where this is gonna go, real, right? You don't know.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go back to the Karate Kid stuff really quick. So let me show you a couple of things. Actually, as you're going, G, there's a couple, good, what would you call that? Facts and
Yeah.
stats that you pulled up. So
Yeah.
let me pull those up really quick, and then let me know as we go along what you found out in your research. Fair enough?
Okay.
So let's pull up this image first. So what did you find out about Chuck Norris? Because Chuck Norris is like the 80s karate guy, right? Like
Yeah. The martial art
and Bruce
expert
Lee
and yes.
are the biggest karate people in the 80s.
And the showbiz. Yes, exactly. Well, okay, so back to the original Karate Kid, where we have LaRusso, Johnny Lawrence, Mr. Miyagi, and John Kreese, which is Johnny Lawrence and Cobra Kai Sensei. So what I found out that this is an urban legend. This is not really true, that Chuck Norris turned down the part of John Kreese on the first part of Karate Kid, which is not true. He said it himself. He was like, no, I was never offered the part, but if I was offered the part at some point, I would have just rejected it because it's not my style, blah, 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 blah. But yes, he was not considered to be John Kreese. Instead, actor Martin Kove played John Kreese, a veteran, and he's actually back in the Cobra Kai franchise. So yeah, a lot of the original cast is back in the Cobra Kai series, which is totally awesome.
It's
cool. Like that brings so much memories. Like when you see all these characters come back, it's like right?
And I can't see anybody else playing John Kreese, right? Like
right.
It's just, he's such a good such a good villain. From the first to the third, because the second one he doesn't show that much. It's like a little at the beginning of the movie. It kind of
just
shows
at the beginning
ending.
of the movie.
Yeah, and where he, Mr. Miyagi does the famous like, and then
yeah.
But that it's one of those like I just despised him. Like I just hated that guy. Like and it's maybe because we maybe knew somebody like that, maybe knew a teacher. Maybe if we did do karate or so, there's someone that we knew that was just like someone that
like the father of all bullies. Like,
yes.
Like the master sensei, if you will, of all bullies you can ever imagine. But yeah, that comes back to the fact that maybe we're so in love with the characters and the actors that play the characters that maybe we don't see other actors playing them. So even though Chuck Norris is like amazing, I don't see him as John Kreese.
And then plus he's always associated, for the most part, right, is a good guy.
Exactly.
The only time I can think, and there's probably more, but the only time I can think that he was a bad guy was in the movie with Bruce Lee. In one of the movies, he was the bad guy that he fought, and that's about it. Though I really can't picture Chuck Norris as a bad guy, right? Exactly. I don't think it would have done justice. But all right, here's another image. G, you were doing some more research and you found some good fact about the following image.
The yellow car, that is a 1958 Ford Super Deluxe convertible car. Yes, I know my facts, people. And this car had his first appearance in the first movie. This car is a present from Mr. Miyagi to Daniel. And actually, the production of Karate Kid gave this car as a present and as a souvenir to actor Ralph Macchio, who plays Daniel LaRusso. And another fun fact is that this exact same car is the car you see in the Cobra Kai series. So that's super awesome because it's the exact same car.
I love that stuff, man. I mean, if you hadn't had the opportunity to go to like Universal Studios, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Hollywood, I've been to the Orlando, but it's the Hollywood is the one, right?
Yes.
That's the OG.
Yes.
And you just get immersed in the Hollywood experience and the movie experience. And one of my favorite rides is the trans ride, right? Or the backlot tour, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you get in this just train car and you walk through all the studios, all the big, sets, and you get to see where they did, Back to the Future, where they did all these, Jurassic Park, all that. But you drive by a bunch of these cars, the prop cars from the movies, the Fast and Furious cars, Flintstones. I mean, all this stuff. I can just, exactly. I think of the same thing. I'll be so, if I were to see that car, I would know it's a Karate Kid car.
Oh,
like it's an iconic car.
Yes. It's iconic. But yeah, Ralph Macchio has that car. It's his. Also, another fun fact, he owns the original headband that you are wearing, the original one that was used in the movie. Which was a handkerchief of actor Pat Morita, who plays Mr. Miyagi. It was his handkerchief. It was never scripted. This was an improvisation, if you will. He took it out and he put it on as a headband, and it stayed. And it's completely a trademark, a Karate Kid trademark now on.
That is so cool.
Yes. See, I did my homework.
Smart. Again, I'm not surprised. You did. That's very impressive, my friend.
Arigato.
Awesome.
Oh my god.
Well,
okay.
What else? Anything else, G, before we move on to the Cobra Kai and the awesome Easter eggs and things that we started to the cast that we started to see?
No, I mean, another fun fact about the original Karate Kid movie is that actually Pat Morita, the actor who plays Mr. Miyagi, was not originally considered to be Mr. Miyagi. Actually, because back in the day, he was a comedic actor, and he played a role in the show called Happy Days, I think it's called, and he was like mostly comedy. And when they were casting, they were like, I don't know. I mean, it's like, how can he be like this waiter or restaurant owner who is in a comedy to be a sensei and this very collected person and very serious and an old veteran from the army also, blah, blah, blah. So what he did was actually when he went to the casting interview, he did this little beard and the mustache, and he was like very polite, and he spoke in Japanese. And that's how they won the casting people to be him, because the original actor, which I don't remember, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name, it's a Japanese actor, was like extremely serious, like it was like the extreme, and he didn't speak very much English, and it was very hard for him to try to make the dialogue work. And so they went with Mr. Pat Morita for Mr. Miyagi.
And again, one that I can't see anybody else playing.
Right.
It was a perfect. It was just. It was. I mean, I just can't see it. I can imagine, because even Mr. Miyagi in the movies always had some kind of humor to him, right? When he would like da 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 da, and he would just slap him.
When he was like, eyes on me, like when he was just slap him, and he was like, eyes right here. Yeah, it had like this. Yeah, exactly.
Always look at the eye.
Always look at the eye. Yeah.
So awesome. That's cool. I think I heard about that one, that he there was some other one they decided to cast, but they actually went with him, and he did a good job, and he was doing a lot of the techniques and really
he knew martial arts. He had a stunt, because the crane maneuver, the crane kick we see at the end of the movie. There's a scene where he's practicing at the beach, where he's like doing all the movements. It's not him. That's a stunt actor. But he did know his fair share of martial arts. So that's actually pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing about Hollywood, right? Sometimes we know that there's stunt doubles, or stunt, doubles. But, there was a lot that he had to do because he had to see his face. But a lot of the times, you knew it wasn't him when they wouldn't show the face, as we see in Hollywood.
They wouldn't show the face.
Yeah, or they far away shots, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, one thing that I did like about now moving into the Cobra Kai series is that they were able to, again, bring back a lot of the cast members that we talked about, right? Of course, Ralph Macchio, the original, Karate Kid, right? Daniel LaRusso, and then Lawrence, right? Johnny Lawrence.
William
and then from there, what I loved about this whole show is that you're seeing a whole different side where I don't know about Yuji, but you start to feel more connected to Johnny Lawrence's character, and start to think. And so I started to see, Daniel LaRusso's character more as a bully when they started showing the first season and two. I was like, wait a minute. I always thought, Johnny Lawrence was a villain, right? Did you sense that shift?
Yes, I did. The first 2 episodes of Cobra Kai, because yes, we see like it's 30 years later from the first movie, and Daniel LaRusso is like this very successful businessman with the awesome, perfect family, the big house, with the perfect daughter and son, and the prettiest wife. Like, he like has everything figured out. And then on the other hand, you see Johnny Lawrence working as the mantenimiento, like
handyman. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And he has everything, nothing figured out. His son, Robbie, he doesn't speak to his son. He has like his life is a mess. And yeah, when they meet eventually, again, and after all those years, you can sense, because there's this scene where they meet at the car shop where Daniel works. He owns, actually. Mm-hmm. And he's telling his co-workers, this is the guy from the karate. Yeah, the one thing you beat. And he like making fun of him. And actually Johnny is like, with that illegal kick. Exactly.
Which is
that was an illegal kick. Another fun fact that, I read that actually. So that's a good question. If you have any comments, or if you agree or if you don't agree, just comment down below. If this was actually a real tournament, the All Valley karate tournament, under 18 tournament, Daniel would have been disqualified because that was an illegal kick. So I don't know. I think it was because it was what we were saying. This is rudeza innecesaria. How do you say that?
Unnecessary
roughness. Exactly. Because it was like
which is funny, because I think of unnecessary roughness when somebody like just grabs somebody and like throws them or slams them. But this was just I don't.
But because the points and the kicks should be at the torso, back, I think, right, and face. But it has to be in combat. Like you have to be like doing stuff to each other in order to one. Exactly. I don't know.
Well, if you are in
if you know about this
karate and you do tournaments, I'd love to know. Let us know is that legit.
Let us know.
Would that be considered an illegal kick? And of course, this is Hollywood. They would have to dramatize it, of course. All right. Well, cool. That's an interesting fact. I love that. And it was again going back to the callbacks, right, of all the characters. One of the things that I loved as well. So we talked about how you started to see a whole different story now. Like you were starting to sympathize with Johnny Lawrence. You kind of see his upbringing. He had, his mom got married again, and there was a stepdad who was this rich guy, never, wasn't a cool dude. So you started to feel for him, and then I started sympathizing too with the Cobra Kai members, the original members. And there was an episode, and I want to say it's in season 2 or 3, but we got to see the original members back again, right? And these are so cool. And the thing about this gi is like the short sleeve, the cobra symbol. It was just such a cool karate outfit, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, completely.
And it was really cool. The only one that didn't come back was the one in the middle there, right? But I think the name of the character, his name was Dutch, and it would have been cool to see him come back. But who knows? Maybe they're working on it, right, to make him come back. Maybe he's the dad of one of the kids too. You never know. All these characters are having kids to come and fight for some reason. But yeah, again, there's the 1984 cast, and then you have the 2019. But the unfortunate part is that the character there that played Tommy, which is the one in the bike there in the bottom, right, and it's straight up, you can see him right next to Johnny Lawrence. In the show, he actually ends up passing away. which was pretty sad, that. But then in real life, not that long after, I think it's literally maybe a few weeks or a month later, he actually did pass away.
Yes.
In real life, which was it was nice to see that they were able to still film this, but also kind of sad that in real life
it happened.
It happened. Yeah.
And there's actually a fun fact about him in the original movie, in the first one. He says he has this famous line: "Is bring him a body bag.
Put him in the body.
Put him in a body bag." So that line was not scripted. That was improvised. Yes.
What?
And it was so cool and so badass and so raw, and that the director's cut left it in the final product. So that's amazing. So that one of the most famous battle lines from that final battle between Johnny and Daniel, it was improvised.
I remember that. That's an iconic, saying, right? Put him in a body bag. And he starts laughing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And then the ironic thing, I don't know if you caught this. It's kind of sad though too, but in the Cobra Kai episode where he passed away, it actually shows him being put in the body bag.
Yes.
Which I'm like, oh, wow.
Like full circle, right?
Right. Like, I'm like, and this is what I love about this show, G, is that the attention to detail is so on point in these Easter eggs, right? I mean, even going to the fact that they when they had Miguel, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it was Daniel LaRusso's daughter, Sam. Mm-hmm. When they went on their first date, they went to the same place as him and Allie went and golf and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you see the music playing,
and then you see Allie and Johnny going back there. Like that was like because Allie with an eye comes back.
Allie with an eye, Elizabeth Shue. I had a big crush on her. I'm not gonna lie.
Right?
I was like,
Allie with an eye.
And it was cool because again, the season when the transitions between the seasons, right? They gave that hint once again that she was going to come back, right? Or Johnny
because
Lawrence they were hinting, and then he called her and they were talking. Mm-hmm. Which is very topical. A lot of people are reconnect or stalk through Facebook,
and it makes sense. And it makes sense. It makes total sense. So that was pretty cool because she's the one that messages him first because he's like, he says it in the show, like, what's Facebook? What's he has no idea. He has like no clue.
No tech. He has no tech. Yeah. He's not tech savvy. He's very like, it's funny because what when I think of Johnny Lawrence, I'm like, I can see him growing up that way.
Yeah.
Like, I can care less.
Exactly. Exactly. So
doesn't know what a laptop is. Like he's just like doing the weird, it's just it's hilarious.
It's so funny.
So it was cool to see her come back and find out more to the story, right? Like actually I kind of felt that she actually had a thing more for Johnny.
In this movie. So we remember then the first movie, her and Daniel were dating. Now in the part 2, in Karate Kid part 2, Daniel says like they broke up because she went to college in far away and she fell in love with a football player from UCLA, but you never see her. So that was another thing. They never got to cast her in the second movie, and it was probably it was just like one scene, so it was like, nah, it's not worth it. So they just kept it in the dialogue that they eventually broke up. And it also like brings closure to this storyline because she comes back and she talks to both of them because she dated both of them. Like, lucky her. And it's like closure of one story because Daniel is like, hey, I'm sorry. And Johnny is also like, hey, I'm sorry too, Mm-hmm. So that's actually like pretty cool. But she was like smitten with Johnny.
Mm-hmm. Right? I know. I was like, hey, okay. Mm-hmm. And I kind of wanted that to work, but Johnny has another love
Carmen.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And I was rooting for Carmen. I have to be honest.
Yeah, for Carmen. Yeah. Are they from Ecuador or were they from Peru?
Ecuador. There's this hilarious scene where Johnny is like trying really hard to impress the in-laws, and he's cooking fajitas, and the mother-in-law was like, "Oh, great, but we're not Mexican." Yeah, great effort, but we're not Mexican.
We're not Mexican. That was hilarious. I love that. I remember that part too. And I, I was also, I was rooting for Carmen, but I also kind of wanted Ellie, to get back. But it's okay. It works either way. And it's cool to see Johnny's character transform over the seasons, right? Where he was pretty much bottom of the barrel, practically almost homeless, right? The fact that he was able to get some money was because of his rich stepdad, and then his stepdad kind of cut him off.
Yeah.
It was kind of a dark time for him, but then he, reconnected with the Cobra Kai, and found Miguel, who he really bonded with, and kind of maybe felt that, hey, this is where I should have done with my son Robbie. But there is a lot, and that's the thing about this series too, is that there's a lot of father-son or father-daughter dynamic happening between both Johnny and Daniel, right?
Yeah. That's pretty cool too, because we never really see that on the first movies. Like, you see the father figure for Daniel is Mr. Miyagi, because his mom is like just in
single
the
mom.
The first minutes of the first movie, I think, and she goes away, and then on part 2 he goes with Mr. Miyagi to Okinawa, and we know the story. So actually the father figure for Daniel is Mr. Miyagi, and it's good to see that we have like strong family connections in the Cobra Kai series, and of course family drama, because who doesn't have family drama? But I mean, you can see like the dynamics about between, like, the conflict between Robbie and Johnny, because he was never around, and it's
never
cool.
around, and then Daniel kind of takes on that bond with Robbie, but then they break that bond, and now he's going with Kreese. So it's just like, I feel bad for Robbie. Robbie is kind of going all over. He kind of can't really find his his mentor, right? His guide.
But the good thing is that we get to see at the end of season 4 that maybe that can be changing, because at the very end, spoilers alert, spoilers ahead. Robbie goes to Johnny, and they have like this really nice, warm moment when they hug each other, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry." So hopefully we can see more of them on season 5, which I cannot wait.
And then we'll talk about kind of the ending and our predictions and how we think it ended and what's going to happen for season 5. But again, let's talk about season 4. There was a lot of new additions, right? I think the biggest one, and we kind of knew this was coming, was Terry Silver, right? The villain from Karate Kid 3.
Karate Kid 3.
And I mean, it was really cool to see that, introduction. Or reintroduction to his character back into the series, because honestly, they kind of hinted that, I knew that he was going to come back, but they kind of teased it where he's just like, no, I'm good. I'm still filthy rich. I have a wife who, were they married or was it a girlfriend? I don't remember.
No, they were engaged, I think.
Engaged?
It was just a girlfriend. Yeah, she was not the wife.
He was so like, playing classical music, long hair, very, he comes from a higher class and really has changed, but just like Kreese does, he likes to play with your mind.
What's the saying? Cobra Kai never dies.
Cobra Kai never dies. And he just planted that in his brain, in his mind, and then came back and started going loopy again, like the movie, right? He started just going off and very psycho, very aggressive. Really cool. I love that they integrated him back, and even going back to the previous seasons, right? The past season they integrated characters from Karate Kid 2, right? Chosen, and then his love interest too.
Kimiko. I cried in that scene when she's dancing, and he sees her from
stage,
in the stage, and they lock eyes. I was like, oh man. I really, really, really cried. That was so emotional.
I really liked her too. I liked her a lot. I thought she was great for. I honestly thought that he would have ended up with her, but of course he's had 3 love interests in 3 movies, practically.
And again, and Karate Kid Part 3, there's this dialogue where they, oh, is Kamika coming? And it's like, no, she got a job as a dancing teacher or something like that in Tokyo, so she moved. So again, I mean, they broke up in a way, and you never see that kind of closure until Cobra Kai. So very, very, very well job from the writers from Cobra Kai for bringing back those characters and making them have closure in a way.
Yeah, and I think then his love interest, I think, was in part 3 was kind of like a partner, whatever, was Jessica Andre or something. She was another one that was introduced, and again hasn't been introduced yet to the series, but maybe will.
Do you think that she was really a love interest? I mean,
or more like a friend.
I think he had the intention, but when they were going to go out, she was like, "I have a boyfriend." So I don't know if maybe there was like really a friend.
Could be. Maybe it was just a friend zone the whole time.
Yeah. So I don't see her coming back. I don't know. Anything can happen.
You never know.
But
I do have a feeling that Mike Barnes is going to come back. The villain from 3 that was with Terry Silver, the young, the one that fought against Daniel LaRusso in the tournament in episode 3 or in Karate Kid 3.
Is
Mike
Terry
Barnes.
Silver's son, right? No,
I don't think he was a son. He just kind of contracted him. He saw him. He was like the bad boy of karate in the magazine, and Terry, contracted him. But I can see him coming back to help Terry Silver, hopefully, because Kreese is arrested.
Kreese is arrested. Kreese is gone, or that's what we know at the moment.
Yeah, he'll figure it out.
Yeah,
he'll come back eventually.
And I don't know. Maybe we can see an alliance between LaRusso, Johnny Lawrence, and John Kreese to take down Terry Silver.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
We don't know.
Let's take this time here to go into this next thing that I'm going to call the good, the bad, and the ugly of Cobra Kai series. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's start off with the good. G, this is rapid fire. What are some good things that you like about the Cobra Kai series so far?
About the entire Cobra Kai series?
Yep.
The fact that Karate Kid is back. I mean, it's...
Yes.
I mean, for me, is one of my go-to. Like, if you ask me, what is one of your favorite movies, or one of the movies you remember the most, or one of the movies that one of your first crushes, like movie crushes. I mean, I was like, Daniel LaRusso was like, that the fact that they managed to bring back that story that is so good, and being able to adapt it to new generations. So there's like an entire audience of a huge age range that can enjoy this story. And to be honest, to be completely honest, when I knew that they were going to do the Cobra Kai series, I was like, what? Why? I was like zero excited. Like I was not, but it was amazing, and it's better than you can ever expect. So if you are a Karate Kid fan, you are going to love the Cobra Kai series.
And that's what I was going to say for good for me, is that the good is the writing. Yeah. The writing in this, and tying all these stories and starting to fill the gaps, right? Because there was a lot of gaps in between. Like, what happened? Like, did Ali really, break up with Daniel? Was Daniel always a good guy? Was there some, Johnny Lawrence, what's his side of the story? All we knew was that he was, a jealous ex-boyfriend and saw this new kid and all this, but we don't know the full story. We also got to see the backstory of John Kreese, right? And how he met Terry Silver, back in Vietnam, and how they connected, and how he started with. So for me, the good is the writing, and being able to tie in all these stories that we had questions and didn't know, and it all makes sense. It's not like, oh, that's the way off, right? So that's a good.
Everything makes sense. Yes, exactly. That's a perfect way to say it. Everything makes sense. Everything makes sense.
Let's go with the bad. What's bad that from the series that you're like, oh, that was bad, or this and that?
I don't know. Maybe sometimes the cheesy dialogues. Like sometimes I'm like, come on. I cannot think of a specific example, but sometimes, I mean, as good as the writing is for the characters and for this mixing all the stories and having closure and whatever and whatnot, like sometimes it's like, oh my god, like super cheesy. Like sometimes I don't know.
I'm following along with you, because also for me, what I think about, I think that there's sometimes they force some of the characters, which I don't see anything. For example,
Yeah.
Daniel's cousin, he's and he was gone for a while, and they brought him back in this season 4. I think that's cheesy. Like, there's no need for that. Then his other employees there, I think that they kind of force some cheesiness in there.
Yes.
And I'm just like, oh gosh, please,
For example,
so I would say that.
Thinking about a cheesy scene, I think this is in season 1 when he is having an argument with another car dealer owner or whatever, and he's like they're talking back and forth, and he goes to his shop and he's holding like this cup. You know what I'm talking about? You know what scene I'm talking about? Yeah, there was a boba tea, or I don't know what it's called. And they were like, ha ha ha, yeah, and exactly, and he does this kick, which by the time you're like, whoa, that's amazing. But if you look up, get back at it again, like, okay, we get it, right?
That's so true. No, that's a good one. That's exactly what I was kind of thinking, the same thing. All right, let's talk about the ugly.
Okay.
I was
thinking about another. I was thinking about another good.
Oh,
if
cheesy.
If I can,
cheesy
good? But good.
Okay.
Like cheesy
kind of
but
combination.
Good. Combination, but good, that actually made me weep for like 15 minutes.
You're very sensitive.
Of course I am. The scene where Daniel finally realizes that he has to bring Miyagi-Do back, and he puts on the band, and and he's like doing these movements and the music and the camera, and that was like super cheesy, but it was epic. Cheesy good. Like this, Daniel LaRusso, the Karate Kid, is back.
Kind of reminds me. I feel like in the background it should be like in the movie where he goes, Daniel LaRusso's gonna fight. What
is he going to do? Exactly. So that's example of cheesy good.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that. Now the ugly. I can start off with this one.
Okay.
For me, I would say the ugly is that it's ugly that this hasn't been done sooner. Like, it's ugly that we have to wait till they're older now. Now Daniel doesn't look older, but it's kind of I mean, how many years has it been? I think it's kind of like sad, but regardless, it's here. I'm happy, but it's kind of ugly that it's like, man, why do we have to wait this long for this?
But to be honest, okay. Here's my question: did you really even consider it happening? I never thought. Do you really thought about? I hope someday.
Especially in the reboot. When the reboot came out, I was thinking, okay, I miss it. It's good, and then I was like, okay, this is nothing like it. This is so off. So that's kind of where I was like, it would have been cool if they didn't rush it or force something different. Right, like, but to the point, to Ralph Macchio's point, there was an interview that he did, and they asked him about this, and he said, "Hey, I just wanted to wait for the right part, the right script, the right story." So, again, I feel everything happens for a reason, and it had to, but still, right? Like, for me, it's like, why did it have to wait so long? But regardless, I'm happy that it's here. But it's kind of hard for me to find the ugly, right? For me, it's just like, and I guess here's another thing to add, right? The ugly part is that we had to. See, and I don't even call it ugly. I would say more like sad that we had to see some of these characters kind of pass on, right? And not be able to enjoy them. Like, well, Mr. Miyagi died, a long time ago, but Pat Morita, but some of these other characters too, we kind of like would have loved to see them,
again
in their heyday. Yeah, but that's me. It's hard to get an ugly. Honestly, I can't think of really many uglies. How about you?
No, I really can't. And again, I was really not impressed or excited when I saw that Netflix was releasing a Cobra Kai. I was like, what? When I saw the name, and then I saw Ralph Macchio.
I got it. I know another ugly. Ugly is that it first started off on YouTube. It was on YouTube streaming service, the first
oh, really?
two seasons. And nobody subscribed to YouTube content. Like, it was not a lot. Nobody, and the first 2 seasons were on YouTube, and then they stopped. Right, the YouTube didn't continue streaming or doing anything. So there was quite a bit of a gap between then finally Netflix picking it up. So I'm glad that Netflix picked it up. showed the first 2 seasons.
They saw the potential. They saw the potential.
So yeah, I don't know if you knew that. Fun fact.
I didn't know that.
YouTube, I think YouTube, I forgot what there's, I don't even know if they have it anymore, but YouTube Red or YouTube something had it. Not many people, I mean, honestly, the only reason I got it was Pirateria, but I was able to see a few. And then finally when Netflix came, I was like, oh yes, thank you.
Okay, I didn't know that. But yeah, again, but that's the beauty of it, because I was like not excited at all. Like I was like, why? And I got like this nostalgia in me, and I saw the characters, and I saw Machio and Sapka together again, and I did not. Are they going to fight? What are they going to do? What is going to happen? Like this, all the anticipation, and eventually I got hooked. Like I am a hardcore Karate Kid fan, as I am a Cobra Kai fan. Like,
and this hardcore. Is where it's funny. I can totally see G being if we were back.
Hello.
She would be a Cobra Kai, and I would be a Mr.
Miyagi-do.
Yeah, Miyagi-do karate. Yeah, 100%.
100%. When we were planning this episode, we were like, "Hey, what are we going to wear?" Blah, blah, blah. And it was like, "Oh, I have a Cobra Kai T-shirt." And I was like, "Of course you do. Of course you do. Of course you do. Of course you do." Yeah.
You strike first. You strike hard.
I strike first. I strike hard, and I have no mercy.
But she cries when you.
I cry. Yeah. I cry like almost.
You're
every
a sensitive
day.
Cobra Kai.
I'm a sensitive Cobra Kai, but I still kick your ass.
Oh yeah. And you see how I didn't argue? Yeah.
He was
wax
like,
on, wax off.
Yeah.
All right. Gee, let's play this next game. This is called who's our top fighters? So what we're gonna do, G, is we have your category, Lash on the left, Stash on the right. And these are our contestants. So from this list, we're gonna start off with the adults first, and then we're gonna go with the teenagers, right? Like who are the top 5 fighters, like number 1 to number 5. So our contestants are, of course, Daniel LaRusso, Johnny Lawrence, Miguel Diaz, Samantha LaRusso, Bobby Kane, Eli Mauskowitz, also known as the Hawk.
The Hawk. An awesome tattoo on his back.
Tori Nichols, Dimitri, John Kreese, Terry Silver, Chosen, and Stingray. We'll talk about him in a second. He's hilarious. All right. So, G, let's talk about, first of all, the adults first. Let's go with from 5 to 1. From the adults, because, again, which one do you think is the 5th best fighter? Who would be your number 5?
Adults. I'm going to show so much Cobra Kai in this, but I mean, John Kreese, number 5 is like least favorite.
Well, like if they were to fight, who would be number 1? If this is a tournament, who would be 5th place?
In 5th place?
In fight.
Chosen.
Okay, Chosen. Interesting. So G decided to go with Chosen. All right, let me give you my 5. I would say it would be John Kreese.
John Kreese. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, like, honestly, we've seen him fight. He can definitely, kick some ass, but I'm pretty sure LaRusso, Johnny, Chosen kicked Danny LaRusso's ass in
season 3. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And he asked him the same thing. He asked him in the Karate Kid to like, live or die, man. And he did the nose thing.
Honk.
Yes.
All right. Who's your number 4?
We are still with adults?
Yes. Or actually, you know what? Let's do it all together. Who do you think is, because I'm thinking mostly adults, but let's go overall.
Tori.
My
girl, okay. Yes. Tori. She's kind of annoying, but I feel her because, again, we can see a lot of family stuff, and we can see a lot of like circumstances around them that make them what they are, like, right?
Fair enough. I'm going to go with Johnny Lawrence.
My Johnny.
Yeah, and
Lawrence.
my reasoning is because again, Daniel LaRusso has already kicked his ass, and then you see in season 4 where they kind of tied. So I don't think yet he's beat LaRusso yet. I don't think he's beat. I mean, Kreese, I can see him beating up. He already beat up Kreese in an episode, but Silver kicked his ass when he came over. So yeah, I think he's my number 4.
Okay.
All right, who's your number 3?
My number 3, Miguel.
Okay, you're going like young here. Interesting. Okay. Miguel Diaz.
Miguelito. ¿Cómo le dice su mamá? Miggy.
Miggy. All right, I'm gonna go for my number 3. This is tough, but I'm gonna go with Daniel. Only because yeah, he beat Johnny. He can beat Kreese, but I still think there's 2 other ones that can beat him. So I think that's my number 3. All right, who's your number 2? John Kreese, the BA.
Sensei of Cobra Kai.
You sound like this is a combination of Cobra Kai and the Squid Games. Cobra Kai, John Kreese, come player 1. All right, my number 2 is going to go to Chosen. Only because he beat, he beat Daniel LaRusso. Yeah. He actually, honestly, I think Daniel LaRusso beat him in Karate Kid 2, but only because Chosen was cocky and was full of anger. But now that Chosen is older and wiser, and has all that, I think he knows a lot more techniques than Daniel does.
Yes,
and it showed that he was able to.
He knows a real deal about the Miyagi technique, which you can see in Cobra Kai, because Daniel has this very specific view of the Miyagi philosophy, if you will. But it's totally different. And also, spoiler alert, we can see that Chosen is back, because maybe he's going to be an ally,
a partner of Daniel.
Yes.
I love that. So it's going to be Daniel and Chosen's versus Terry Silver and possibly the Mike Barnes if he comes back.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. All right, number one.
Pretty boy, Johnny Lawrence.
Daniel LaRusso is nowhere in your chart?
I think I missed the mark, but if you see, I'm mostly a Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I see 1,
Daniel LaRusso.
2, 3 out of the 5.
Yeah.
I mean, say Miguel Diaz was also Cobra Kai.
Can I pick 2 for the first place? I don't know. Maybe they're
twins?
up there. They're twins. Daniel and Johnny are twins.
Okay.
For me, in my heart, in my Karate Kid mind, 80s baby
1.
mind.
Silver. Dude, he's angry. He's angry. Do you see how he beat up poor Stingray at the end?
Yeah.
He's full of anger. He's got a lot. I mean, he destroyed.
And he
Johnny
paid
Lawrence.
him to say it was John Kreese. What happened there? So yeah, that's why John Kreese got arrested.
He destroyed Johnny Lawrence, and I'm sure he can beat John Kreese, but he respects him until finally he betrayed him, right?
You remember that part in the movie where he's like, well, not in season 3 or 2, when he's like, I owe you everything. And yeah, that's why he comes back to John Kreese, to the Cobra Kai dojo.
Because of the Vietnam, right? When he saved his life. That was such an intense scene. Yeah.
When he saved everybody's life, actually.
There you go. So awesome. Look at that. There's our top 5 fighters. I mostly went with the adults because I'm like, come on, they have experience. They're going to kick these young kids' butt. G surprised me with adding some of the young ones there. I mean,
Tori is a badass.
Tori is, but I think that, I mean,
she is a badass.
She didn't really win against Sam, right? It was a Terry Silver paid the referee.
Sweep the leg.
I think you have a bias towards Cobra Kai. I'm just saying. I mean, look at your list.
What? Really?
What?
What?
Yeah, I don't know, because I'm thinking like, first of all, Hawk. I think I don't know. Miguel Diaz might have beaten Hawk because he got hurt. Right, he was his back. He wasn't himself. But I love that Hawk won the tournament. That was
Yeah.
really cool to see.
Yeah.
Also, to see him redeem himself from being, again, a bully to now back to himself again, saying,
Back
"Hey,
to
I can still
himself.
I can still kick ass and also be a good person, right?"
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So
Agree.
there you go. Interesting picks, G. I don't know. Do you agree with Lash's picks of the top 5 fighters, or do you think mine is more realistic? Come on, if these 5 were going against those 5, I think mine would win. I'm just saying.
Yeah, probably. I just went by heart, and I was like, I like this character the most. I don't know if he will win, but I like him.
I
Yeah,
know
I had to
you're
have
going off
Johnny.
most your favorite, yeah.
But most favorite, yes. I don't know if they can fight, but I like them.
All right, G. To wrap up, what's our prediction?
Oh my
So
god, it's all we're almost done, and so many facts. So many
What
facts.
else do you have?
So,
What else do you have? Rapid fire.
Okay, so did you know that the original name for Daniel LaRusso's character name was Daniel Weber instead of LaRusso? So that's, again, I mean, we're so used to the name Daniel LaRusso that we cannot imagine another name, but that was the name. And Johnny Lawrence's name's character was originally Donald Rice. So what?
No thanks.
No thanks. So what they figured is that Ralph Macchio is Italian, so they changed it to LaRusso, so that it made more sense. The weird relation between the Karate Kid franchise and Rocky. They share the exact same score writer, which is legendary. I mean, if you can listen to the score of the Karate Kid, it's amazing. It's beautiful. Yeah. And Conti, which is the score director, also did the score for all the Rocky movies. And also what they share is that the song you listen to in the first movie of Karate Kid, that You're the Best Around, by Joe Esposito, it was originally written for You're the Best
Around. No one's gonna ever let you down.
Exactly.
Ooh, oh, such a cool song.
That's good. That was originally written for Rocky 3, if I'm not mistaken. But Mr. Sylvester Stallone said no, and he went with Eye of the Tiger from Survivor instead. So
I don't want that one. I want Tiger.
Adrian,
Tiger. Give it Tiger. I was like, I'm glad. It makes sense. Both of them worked. It worked out the way it was. Yeah.
It was meant to be. Like, it's crazy because it's really meant to be. So yeah, that's a crazy relation.
Let's talk about Did we talk about the ages? Like, it's very common in Hollywood that they cast older actors and actresses to play teenagers. Right? It's very common. You see this a lot, even in the 90s and 80s. They were in their 20s, even their 30s. Did you ever see 90210, Lash?
Yes, of course.
One of the characters in 90210 was actually 30 years old that played. Let me fill it. I'll give you the name right now. That was actually
one
30
of the main
years
characters?
old. And she not the main. She was one of them. Her
Andrea?
name.
The one with the glasses?
The one with the glasses. Yep. Andrea. Gabriella Catrice. She was like 30 when she got cast.
I figured she was older, but everybody else was like 20 something, right?
Yeah, they were still in their 20s.
But she looks younger than 30, so it works.
Yep, it works. But she had a lie, right? She didn't even tell him. She had a lie that she was younger. And then I think there was a big scandal that they did an interview with her, and they called out her age, and she was like, I'm gonna lose my job.
Really?
Yeah, but Doc, it's very common, right? We know this, but Daniel LaRusso, how old was he in the first one?
Ralph Macchio in 1984 was 22 years old, and in the movie he's supposed to be a high 17? School, like 17, 16, 17 tops. So and right now, I mean, if you don't know this, Ralph Macchio is 60 years old.
And the character who plays his wife, Amanda LaRusso, I think it's Courtney Hagengeler.
I think she's my age.
She's like 43.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So interesting, right?
Interesting.
Go, Daniel.
And actually, William Sapka, who plays Johnny Lawrence, is like 5 years younger than Ralph Macchio. And he looks like kind of older, right? At times.
He does. Daniel doesn't age. I don't know.
No, he doesn't age. And it's funny because I was doing all this research for this episode, and I came across a bunch of interviews to Ralph Macchio, and every time he goes into a show, the first question he gets asked, "Hey, how old are you?" And it's hilarious because he's like, if I had $1 for every time people ask me how old I am, like, yes, I'm very, 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 very old, but I don't look old. So by the time he was 22 in 1984 when he shot Karate Kid 1, by the time he did Karate Kid Part 3, he was almost 30. And he looked like 21. It's insane.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. And that's what the wonderful thing about whatever his secret is. I think he's a vampire in real life, G. He's
right?
A vampire.
But he says it runs in his family. Like every single of his family members is very young looking. Also, another fun fact, if you recall, in season 4 of Cobra Kai, you can see his daughter in one of the characters. Do you saw that? Do you remember this part where the son is having a lot of trouble at school because he's bullying this other kid, and the cousin, Vinny, is he called Vinny? Well, I don't remember. Mm-hmm. He is Vinny. With another cousin there.
Oh, yes. That was a daughter? The one I was doing
that's Ralph Macchio's daughter in real life.
The psychologist that was trying to tell the parents. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
That's Ralph Macchio's daughter in real life.
There you go. Fun fact. G and her fun facts. Give it up for G.
You can still visit some of the locations from the original movie. We could do a whole new show. We can do this a part 2. And we could still be talking about a lot of things about all the movies. So which one is your favorite?
Favorite character?
Movie.
Favorite movie of the 4?
The 4.
I would say my favorite movie is number 2.
Really?
Which is funny because that one made the most money, more money than number 1.
There you go. Fun fact. There you go, because we know what they say about sequels. But in this case, Karate Kid Part 2 was more successful in the box office than the first movie. And a lot of people like it even more because you can see Mr. Miyagi's story, which is very refreshing. And it's very nice to see and know that part of him. So yes, my particular favorite is number 1. But because of nostalgia and whatever. But yeah, number 2 is considered the best of the 3 Karate Kid movies.
And that's my favorite. I loved it. I love that. I love the part with the ice and the drums.
Yes.
And then the fight to the death. But all right, we are running out of time. So predictions time. What do we expect for season 5? What do you think is going to happen? I'll tell you right now. I already said it a few times. I think Mike Barnes is going to come back and team up with Terry Silver to go up against Chosen
and Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence.
Now, Johnny Lawrence, I think my prediction is, Johnny went after Miguel, right? Miguel's dad is in Mexico City. And here's a cool thing. There was some pictures circulating that they're filming in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
In Mexico City, which is weird, right? Like, how are they filming in Mexico City?
I am so upset because I moved and I don't live anymore in Mexico City. So when I knew that they were potentially going to Mexico City to look for Miguel's dad, I was like, damn it, they're probably going to shoot in Mexico City. I'm so pissed.
Yep. So pissed. And I think one of the cast members they got, and I want to make sure, I think his name is Luis Roberto Guzman, is who they cast to be Miguel's dad. Now,
Luis Roberto, el de Club de Cuervos?
Who killed Sara? Is
Luis Roberto?
Show. What else did he do?
He's the one from Club de Cuervos, Nosotros los Nobles. Is that the guy?
He might be. Let me get a picture of him. he is. There was pictures of him being taken in Puerto Rico with folks, and I'm like, oh, I know him, and it was
I know him. No, he's not the one I'm talking about. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's gonna play. He's a good looking dude. I'm not gonna lie. He's very chiseled.
He is.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Hell yeah.
There's been pictures circulating of him, and then also he has like there's a banner behind him, like he could be a part. He could be also, he knows karate, and he's part of a dojo. So now we can have either he can be a villain or he can be an ally. We don't know, but I have a feeling he's going to be an ally, but then turn into a villain because he sees Miguel and Johnny Lawrence relationship
bonding.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he's jealous because he still has feelings for Carmen, but Carmen is with Johnny. Oh my God.
You got it. It's going to happen. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to happen.
Carmen. Yeah. So there you go. Spoiler alert. There's rumors. It looks like they casted him as his dad when he goes to Mexico City. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. I seriously, we could do a part 2 of this because there's a lot. But yeah, this was fun. This was fun.
And I can't wait.
Memory lane.
When it comes back, we'll take a look at it and we'll talk about if we were right? So
yeah.
All right. Well, G, once again, and then be out, folks. We are starting February soon, so we have St. Valentine's Day, so we'll just be in the lookout. Might be a special episode around Dia de Amor. What is it?
Dia del Amor y de la Amistad.
De la Amistad, which doesn't make sense here in the U.S. It's just Valentine's Day. We'll talk about that, but we'll be reaching out to all of you to give you some give us some topics or things that we can discuss. But
please go follow us on our social media because we're going to be posting probably what is going to be our next episode, and we're going to be needing your help. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. All right. Well, again, from the Stash and Lash Studios, aquí está su amigo El Lasho.
Y the Lash. Thank you so much, everybody. We love you. Thank you. Please like, subscribe, and all the jazz. And we will see you in 2 weeks.